Hey everyone, my name's Nathan and welcome to Hail. So this is a continuation of the segment I do where at the beginning of each month I talk about movies that I watched. I want to add a little twist to it. This time I will also be including a little life update with how things are going in my life. I kind of want to incorporate almost a vlog into these monthly videos where I just update you guys on how schooling is going for me or how life is going in general, how things are going outside of the YouTube channel. But because you came here for movie talk, I'll talk about movies and TV shows I saw for the first time in February 1st, and then after that I'll talk a little bit about updates in life. The first thing I watched this month was The Trial of the Chicago 7. Now, as is always the case, Aaron Sorkin's writing was very fast-paced and witty. It feels a little silly at times because it's almost too good. The clever lines happen so often that it's almost unbelievable. You almost wonder, how are all these characters so darn witty and clever to make such fast comebacks or such clever remarks so fast? I appreciate a well-written script, but when it's just like a little bit too well-written, it's almost a little unbelievable. The characters feel too fake to me. The ending still gave me chills even if I found out at a later point that it actually never happened. In fact, really this whole movie was very one-sided and kind of disappointing to me because of how one-sided it was. I would have liked to see a little bit more involvement from both sides of the court case. I then watched The Muppets, which has been on my watch list forever, and what finally motivated me to give it a watch was this movie challenge I'm doing on my channel where I watched 25 movies from 1970s. It just had that Muppet sense of humor where it's just really funny, and I appreciated the cameos. I didn't recognize all the cameos, but the ones that I did recognize for sure were Bob Hope, Steve Martin, and Orson Welles. The Orson Welles one got me the most excited because I just really was not expecting that.
My name is Kermit the Frog, and we read your ad, and, well, we've come to be rich and famous.
Miss Tracy, prepare the standard rich and famous contract for Kermit the Frog and Company.
There were also a lot of funny running gags in the film, one in particular having to do with if you're lost then trying out Hare Krishna. I'm slowly trying to watch all of Billy Wilder's filmography, and so Ace in the Hole was a perfect movie to watch this month. When it started, I honestly didn't quite know where it was going. Despite the slow beginning to the film, it had a very satisfying ending that very much so delivered. It has some deep messages, and it's accompanied by the talented writing and direction of Billy Wilder. I really enjoyed Ace in the Hole. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest was such an enjoyable watch. I ended it, and it was that feeling that you get where you know you've seen a critically acclaimed movie and it's just a good feeling. You feel so satisfied. Jack Nicholson is one of the greatest actors of all time, and I think this might be my favorite performance from him now. And honestly, I can't only credit Jack Nicholson. Everyone who was in this film just did an amazing job. Even the inmates, I feel like they don't get as much credit because only one of them was nominated for an Oscar, but the inmates were incredible as well, and it was cool to see such young stars in this movie, such as it was really cool to see actors at such a young age, such as Christopher Lloyd and Danny DeVito. And while this movie is pretty sad overall, there were some scenes that just had me smiling, like when he plays basketball with the inmates on the basketball court, or when he takes them all out on the sea and they go fishing, or when he's announcing the World Series and it's as if like they're actually watching on the TV, but he's making it all up. There were just a lot of scenes that had me smiling, such as those ones I mentioned. I said this in my Letterboxd review, but One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest is just one of those Godfather, Shawshank Redemption, Return of the King tier level films where you just can't help but love it. Continuing on with my 25 movie challenge, I watched American Graffiti, which is something that I've been meaning to watch for so many years. The big standout in this movie for me was the music. If this movie didn't have the soundtrack accompanying it, then it would be such a boring movie because the soundtrack, the song selections that they use in this film really is what gives a lot of life to this film, in my opinion. It's a really fun movie about some high school students driving around town before they leave to college and the shenanigans that they get involved with in this last night. It was funny, it was enjoyable, but I will say I think I would have enjoyed it more if I had seen it when I was in high school because I've been off to college. I mean, for crying out loud, I'm in college right now, and so it didn't hit me like I think it could have if I had seen it for the first time while I was actually in high school. But yeah, honestly, just like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, it was cool seeing so many young actors. Like we see a young Harrison Ford, a young Ron Howard, a young Richard Dreyfuss, and it's entertaining to see them all in these roles, but really, American Graffiti just made me want to jump in my car and hit up the town. Night in the City is a film that I picked up from the Criterion Collection on one of my recent hauls, and it took me a little bit to watch this movie. Because of my busy college schedule, I sometimes don't always have the time to sit through one movie in one sitting. Normally what I have to do is I have to start it and then finish it either a day later or a few days later, pretty much when I have the time to watch it. Night in the the City was one of these movies where I watched it in multiple sittings just because of my schedule. And what started out as, I'd say, like a 6 out of 10 movie ended up being an 8 out of 10 movie because the end chase scene was very thrilling to watch and it was just entertaining to watch. Everything before then wasn't necessarily bad, but it wasn't anything too special, anything for me to, remember it beyond the end credits. I think something that I really liked about Night in the City was the camera angles as well as the shadowing. There's a lot of shadowing and it felt very noir at times. Now, Serpico was a movie I chose to watch for 2 reasons. 1, to see another 70s movie, but 2, to see another Sidney Lumet film because I really like Sidney Lumet as a director. I've enjoyed his movies for the most part this far, so I want to give more a chance. It stars Al Pacino and it's about him being involved with a police force, and basically there's some dishonesty going on within the police force, but he's the only one who stands up for truth and honesty. These kind of movies are always really engaging to watch. I think Sidney Lumet likes to go for the underdog stories because 12 Angry Men is so similar to this in the fact that it's one man against 11 other men. In this case, it's one man against a whole police force. Are you going to do what's right? Are you going to stand up for what you believe in? Kind of like that old idea. I didn't necessarily love Serpico, but it was far from disliking it. It was just a movie that I watched it, and when it ended, I was like, yeah, I liked that. That was a good movie. But I don't really have anything else to say other than that. Then I finally checked out Nomadland when it was released on Hulu a week ago, I believe, and I actually quite enjoyed this movie. It's one of those movies that you had to mentally prepare yourself and tell yourself this is going to be a slow movie, but you can still enjoy it. At least that's how I feel about it. And luckily, I was in the mood to watch just a slow film and to just get lost in it. And so for that reason, Nomadland really delivered to me. I loved the character of Fern. In fact, if I were to release my first time watch awards for the year 2021, then I think Fern at this point would win for my favorite character of the year because I don't know what it was, but I think just because of how she was so real and almost relatable in some senses, I just really cared for her and wanted what was best for her. There are such cute little scenes in this film. Like, for an example, she's exploring outside and she's in this canyon setting and she just like yells her name out to the world. Like, it's so cool because she's kind of a loner, but she's still living and she hasn't given up on life or anything like that. She's still enjoying life and she's still happy. At this point, I would be completely fine with Nomadland winning Best Picture at the Oscars. I just found out that it won at the Golden Globes. That doesn't always mean that it's going to win at the Oscars as well. I mean, we haven't even gotten the nominations yet, but yeah, I'd be cool with this one winning. Steven Spielberg is another director that I'm interested in, seeing all of his filmography. And so I watched Amistad, Amistad, the ship name, Amistad. It was a fine movie. I just feel like sometimes Steven Spielberg feels obligated to make a really long movie when it could be so much shorter. And this was one of those cases where I could have taken off 30 minutes and probably enjoyed the movie even more because it felt like it just kept going on. I mean, it's over 2.5 hours long. But I enjoyed all the performances I saw. Anthony Hopkins in particular is one of those actors that whenever I see him in a movie, I realize how much I love him. For some reason, it's easy to forget how great he is, but then when you're watching him, that's when all the memories come back and you realize, wow, this is like one of the best actors of all time. I liked his performance. I liked really all the performances in this movie. It wasn't a movie that I thoroughly loved. It's far from a movie I thoroughly disliked or anything. It's just kind of like a good movie, a good courtroom drama, but I've seen better courtroom dramas. Okay, cool. Bedknobs and Broomsticks, another 1970s film that I've been wanting to see forever, and I checked it off the list, and gosh, yeah, this was a movie. I don't know if I ever want to see this again. As I was watching it, all I could think of was Mary Poppins, and I do like Mary Poppins a lot more, and so, yeah, and also I didn't grow up on it or anything, so I don't think there's any nostalgic factors tying into my film review or my film rating or anything like that, but I can't deny that Angela Lansbury is absolutely adorable. Irma la Douce is a film directed by Billy Wilder. As I continue my Billy Wilder watch-a-thon, I definitely thought that it was too long, 2 hours and 15 minutes, and it's one of those old movies where there's no end credits, and so all the credits are at the opening, but you can't fast forward the opening credits because it's involved with the movie. And so that 2 hours, 15 minutes is all film that you watch. It's not something that you fast forward or anything. Billy Wilder has made so many good movies that when I compare this to his other movies, it's probably my least favorite of what I've seen so far. But that doesn't mean it's a bad movie per se, because there were times that I laughed. And I actually did enjoy this movie, but I'm not sure if I loved the plot of it. On top of that, Jack Lemmon is a very hit and miss actor with me, which is kind of ironic because I'm trying to watch all of Billy Wilder's films and Jack Lemmon's in like half of them, it seems like. He just overacts so much and it kind of really annoys me. I just want him to like tone it down a little bit. And Irma la Douce was no exception. He overacted in this movie as well. So that was also kind of a con. Jack Lemmon and Shirley MacLaine are a better duo in The Apartment, though. So if you're looking for a movie for whatever reason with these two actors in it, watch The Apartment instead. Irma la Douce. Is it Irma la Douce or Irma la Douce? They definitely say it in the movie, but I can't even remember, so I'm not even going to worry about it. We're going to move on. In my film class, we had to choose a movie to write a review on, and I actually chose a Steven Spielberg film from the 80s, not the 70s, but this one is Always, and it's about a pilot who is killed in a crash, and it's basically like his task to serve others before he's allowed to move on to the next life. And you know, while there are plenty of great camera shots in this film and really good performances, specifically by Holly Hunter and John Goodman, the film just felt a little bit too sappy to me and a little too outdated as well. I like the overall theme of the film and the message that Spielberg was trying to drive home, which I won't go into because of like spoiler alerts and everything. It's definitely far from my favorite Spielberg film, and I don't know if I'll ever rewatch it either. But it was fun to write a 3-page paper on it. And the final movie that I saw for the first time in February was Before the Devil Knows You're Dead, which is continuing my watch of Sidney Lumet. This movie was a lot sadder than I expected it to be. I expected just a heist film, but it's a lot heavier on the emotional side of things. If you've seen this movie, you know exactly what I mean. All I will say is these two brothers are desperate to earn some money, and so they resort to robbing their own parents' jewelry store. I'll just leave it at that and just go into it knowing that it's a Sidney Lumet film, so you better expect some suspense as well as some depressing scenes. Now let's talk about some TV shows that I saw in February. So I finally finished The Clone Wars, which I talked about in January, and oh, it's such a good show. Gosh, I loved it so much, especially the end of season 7. If you know, you know. I'm not going to talk about my thoughts here because I have upcoming Clone Wars content coming to you, so I'll save it for those videos. It was a good show, and if you're on the fence of watching it, then you should give it a try. I would recommend watching it in chronological order, though, for sure. Go that way. And then because one of my friends requested it to me, I watched Ted Lasso with my roommate, and we've only seen the first episode, but it's enjoyable enough so far. I think it's hard to rate a show based on only one episode, so I can't give a rating yet, but I might continue that on into March. We'll see. My roommates and I are still watching Death Note. We haven't gotten very far. In fact, I think we only watched like 2 episodes in February, so sorry I don't have an update on that, but I'm enjoying it still. And then, of course, I watched WandaVision, as I'm sure all of you have been watching, and this month in February, they came out with episodes 5 through 8, and, you know, I'm enjoying WandaVision so far. There have been a lot of 8 out of 10 episodes, a lot of 9 out of 10 episodes. I don't think there's ever been an episode that I was like disappointed or mad about. And so it's a very solid show thus far. Yeah, honestly, I've been on board with WandaVision since episode 1, so I'm pretty excited to see the finale. When you see my March first time watches, I'll be able to share my thoughts on that finale, so that's exciting. Those are it for TV shows and movies, and I just want to give a little life update, let you know what's going on in my life right now. I've been going on dates, and I went on a date with my friend from work, and what we did for the date is, well, first off, we made Pizookie, which if you're not aware is a pizza cookie. Really good, especially when you smother vanilla ice cream on top of it. So highly recommend that for a date night. On top of that, we went to a thrift store, bought a painting, and then we went home and we painted over the painting. And I want to show you my work of art now. So this is it, the beautiful painting. So, yeah, we got this one. It's just a shelf, but we added some things to the shelf. We could have added more, but we were kind of running out of time. So she drew the blue spirit mask from Avatar. I drew the shield. She drew the ghost. I drew the bow and arrow. Any of my friends who see it, they keep saying that's a toilet brush and not an arrow. So forget you guys. And then I drew Joe Gardner from Soul. I know it doesn't look good, but you know. And then she drew Baby Yoda. It was a fun date. I enjoyed it. I also received official news back from the grad school I applied to, University of Utah, and I got accepted. Yeah. Yeah. Dear Nathan, we are pleased to inform you that you have been accepted to Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. Wow, so that's cool. I'll be starting that in fall of 2021. Like, if I'm just being real, I cannot believe that I'm about to graduate college with my undergraduate. To go even one step further, I can't believe that this fall I will be working on a master's degree. Gosh, I'm not even that old. I'm like early 20s. My classes are going well. I'm in a healthcare finance class, and this is the book I get to read. It's a good class because I'm learning a lot, but the chapters are like 20 to 30 pages each, and it drains me. And the reason I'm mentioning this is because I had an exam for it yesterday, and I did pretty good on the multiple choice section. There are a lot of problems I had to fill out, and that hasn't been graded yet because the teacher has to go through and grade that herself. So I will find out how I did on that, but I currently have a 98 in the class. I'm hoping that this test doesn't lower my grade too much because I'm thinking I got like a B- or a B. Prayers would be great. Just kidding. That wouldn't change anything because like I've already taken the test. It's not going to do anything. This is probably the biggest announcement of the video. I'm going to discontinue my 11 out of 10 movie series. I just don't feel like it's getting the reception that I want it to get. To give you an idea, I put a lot of effort into those videos with writing the scripts and then filming the videos, and then I try to put like extra effort into the editing process, and so that takes a long time. Every time I upload one of those videos, it's my lowest received video. I hate to break this news because I know that I have fans of the 11 out of 10 series, but I have to discontinue it right now just for like how much effort I'm putting into it and how much return I'm receiving out of it. It's not worth it. It's not adding up. I love talking about 11 out of 10 movies, and there are still plenty more that I wanted to talk about. In fact, I had plans in March to do 10 Cloverfield Lane. April, my plans were Napoleon Dynamite. July, I wanted to do a Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2 video because that's the 10-year anniversary of its release. So I had like so many plans for it, but yeah, it's just not going very well. I'd rather put my time towards something that can receive a better return from you guys. And so I don't want to say it's like ending. I just wanted to say that it's taking a little break, and who knows if it'll be coming back anytime soon. I'll still be releasing more content. I really want to focus more on video essays and things like that, rankings and video essays. I really love doing directors' filmographies and ranking like movie series or movie studios, and then I love doing video essays, and I want to do more of them. So that's kind of like the direction I want to take this channel in at this point. Let's see how March goes. Let's see what videos I release then. Thank you for sticking with me. If you watched the whole video, the movies, the TV, the life updates, I appreciate it. Hope your guys' life is going well. Yeah, stay awesome. Keep watching movies, guys. Have a great day.